gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of NPU Weekly, the weekly webcast show that brings you up to date with all the latest news in the world of NPU athletics. I'm your host, Kevin Shepke, and for the first half of the show, we'll be joined by head football coach Mike Conway, where unfortunately the Vikings are coming off a 31-7 loss to Alma College this past Saturday. And then later on in the show, we'll be joined by head women's soccer coach Chris Wright of the North Park women's soccer team, where the Vikings are coming off a 1-1 record last week, where they lost to Concordia University, Wisconsin by a 5-0 score Wednesday, and then later bounced back for a 4-1 win over Wisconsin Lutheran College. After that, I'll be taking you around the horn and bringing you up to date on all the other latest news within the world of North Park athletics. Today's interview with head coach Mike Conway was a pre-recorded interview because he had some other things to take care of in terms of film and game setup for this week's game coming up against Washington University St. Louis. So let's go ahead and show you that interview that Mike and I had earlier this morning. We are now joined by head football coach Mike Conway of the North Park Vikings, where unfortunately the Vikings are unfortunately coming off a 31-7 loss to Alma College in Michigan last weekend. And Mike, just how you doing today?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing all right.
Yeah. Just talk a little bit about how the game went. I mean, unfortunately, not what you guys were expecting after just a whirlwind of events on the opening game the week before against Concordia, Wisconsin. But what do you think the unfortunate breakdown was against Alma?
Oh, well, I mean, there's a lot of breakdowns, obviously. You know, we didn't perform very well, and I got to give Alma a lot of credit. They rebounded from a really tough loss from their first game against a really good opponent. Mm-hmm. And they played, you know, they put in a new offense and did some things that it's difficult to do in less than a week. And they did a really good job of preparing and bringing their team back. And, you know, you got to give them credit. They really did a good job. They were prepared, and they were well excited for the game. It was the first night game in the history of Alma College, and they had a huge crowd, and they had atmosphere, and it was a really good experience for them, and they did a great job. You got to give them credit. Mm-hmm. On our side, you know, we didn't play very well in a lot of phases. We made a lot of mistakes. I think we dropped, you know, 6 or 7 passes. We ran, you know, we ran some wrong routes. We coughed the ball up. We turned the ball over a few times, crucially. Mm-hmm. And to that point, we were still in the game in the fourth quarter by, you know, 17-7. So there were times when our defense played outstanding, and there were times when we looked like we were starting 3 or 4 freshmen on defense, which is what we are, especially in our secondary. So, you know, we had some injuries. We lost Stanton Delgado in the first quarter to a broken leg. We lost Brian Palmer did not play because he got hurt on Wednesday and tried to go out and play, couldn't play, so we put another young kid in there, played his first game, played as hard as he could, and did an admirable job. I thought we really fought on defense. I thought we fought all the way through. We just, you know, late in the game, we made a couple crucial mistakes, and they made a couple good calls, and they put it in the end zone at the end, and you know, we weren't able to get anything going offensively. You know, we just didn't have any rhythm, and you know, we didn't run the ball particularly well. DJ got hurt in the first quarter also, so you know, that's no excuse. You got injuries, guys got to step up, but you know, it hurt us a little bit in some ways, you know, as far as our continuity goes, but. You know, it was a tough loss, but it's just one game. You know, I think our guys learned from how to deal with adversity and how to deal with losses all through the last year's season. We got a lot of new guys that are going to learn the same things, and we're going to keep fighting. Mm-hmm.
Would you say probably the biggest thing you guys could pull out of this is just the guys battling through adversity, that builds character, that they probably think that's the biggest thing that they could pull out of something like this?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, Kevin, we put so much on the wins and losses. It's all about the wins, and you know, sometimes the win and the scoreboard don't always tell the true story. You know, wins or losses. You know, but I think that the idea about playing football for us philosophically is to learn from all the circumstances that happen, the good and the bad. Yeah. And if we had won Saturday, there'd have been a lot of lessons that we got to teach our guys from that too. So we lost. So we learned from that. We try to eliminate the mistakes we made, and we move on. We take each game one at a time. And you can't look at the overall aspects of things behind you, and you can't look at things ahead of you. You got to look at what's right in front of you, and that's how we got to approach everything. That's why we are. I can't say that I'm happy about losing. I'm not. And our kids aren't. But that's that's part of the game, and it's not life or death. It's football.
Right.
We can learn some good things from it, and that's what we're doing.
Talk about now this upcoming week. Now, you guys, what are some of the things now you're going to focus on for this week coming up now?
Well, we're playing Washington University, which watching the video yesterday and today, not sure how they haven't won the first two games. I think the reason is they played one of the best teams in the OAC in Ohio Northern, and they played one of the best teams in one of the Southern Conference at Rhodes College. So, they played some tough opponents and played them really tough all the way down to the wire, and they are very talented. Offensively, they got a really good quarterback. They got a whole core and a whole group of running backs that all are excellent football players, and they got this tight end that just he's one of the best small college tight ends I've ever seen. He's unbelievable. He's really a good player, and we're going to have to contend with him. He blocks, he's tenacious, he can catch the ball. He's a really good player. I'm really impressed with him. But I think we're formulating a good plan, not only against him, but against all of their weapons, defensively, and we're going to have to come back, and our kids will play hard. They'll play hard for 4 quarters, and that's all I've ever asked them to do. And offensively, we're going to have to eliminate the mistakes we made. We were really close to having some big plays, and we put one, we make one big play there in the second, third, or fourth quarter, and we're still right in the ball game. Now it's a 3-point game, but so offensively, we'd like to eliminate the mistakes and try to progress a little bit, and that's something that I guess the focus is defensively, and really learn to trust each other out there. We got a lot of young guys, we got a lot of new guys offensively, and a lot of guys that haven't played, and they're talented, but some of them are 18. You know what I mean? They're going to make mistakes. And same thing with our defensive guys. We're starting 2 freshman corners. We started a young guy at safety yesterday, a freshman kid at safety. We got a lot of things that got to understand that when we're doing that, they're going to make mistakes, and we got to learn from them. And it kind of set us back a little bit, but now we got to find a way to mature with those young guys a little sooner than we would like to, based on where we're at. You
were talking a little bit about this running back that WashU has. Do you think that that's one thing that you guys are going to pinpoint? Is it on focusing on WashU this week, or is it just going to be a bunch of different things that you guys are just going to have to zero in on to get this first victory of the season?
Well, we pinpoint the running back. They'll hurt us in a lot of different other ways. They got really good receivers too, and like I said, you can't play defense where you're pinpointing one thing. You gotta play your defense, and you gotta make plays. You gotta run the football and tackle, and try to create some opportunities defensively. And we did. We caused 3 turnovers last week, and we've been doing that some. So we have been getting the ball back, and that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to keep people in front of us, make tackles when we need to, and we got to play better in the red zone defensively. And offensively, we got to get into the red zone, and we got to convert. So, no, I'm not going to pinpoint one thing. I wouldn't be a real smart defensive coach if I was pinpointing having to stop one thing, because there's other things out there that are happening. So,
Okay, well, thanks so much for taking the time this week, Mike, and we can wish you all the best of luck against WashU. Again, we wanted to thank Mike for taking the time to join us earlier today. As I said, Vikings were coming off a 31-7 loss in that game. A couple of highlights from that game for the Vikings. Devin Childress had 2 catches for 39 yards, and he caught the lone touchdown for North Park in the second quarter with 3:08 remaining in the second half. That brought the game to a 17-7 score for the Vikings at that point. But Alma just went on into just a scoring barrage, unfortunately, in the second half. T.D. Conway, sophomore quarterback T.D. Conway was 14 of 41 for 141 yards. On the ground, D.J. Jones and Drew Walkington combined for some solid rushing yards. Drew Walkington was had 34 yards rushing, while DJ Jones finished with 14 yards rushing. Leading receiver for the game was Dakota Conway, who had 5 catches for 64 yards. And defensively, Kyle Leaforth had a monster game as he recorded 10 total tackles on the defensive end for the Vikings. But they return to action this week when they take on WashU St. Louis down in St. Louis. So we wish them all the luck, best of luck this week as they take on that and hopefully get their first victory of the season. Moving on to some of the other sports on campus. The North Park volleyball team ended up having a spirited match against Concordia University Chicago on Wednesday last week. After going down in the first 2 sets by 0-2, they came back to win the next 3 sets in a very just a spirited match. I was able to catch up with 2 leaders from that game, both Haley Brake and Abigail McCowan from that matchup. So let's go ahead and roll that highlight from that game on Wednesday night.
And we are here now live after North Park's win over Concordia Chicago. Vikings defeat Concordia by a 3-2 score, 25-20, 25-7, 24-18, 15-17. They come back after being down in the first 2 sets. We're here with Haley Brake and Abigail McCowan. Looking at some of the stats here, Haley Brake, you finished with 11 kills out of 25 attempts with a 280 percentage. Talk a little about just 5 serving aces for Abby McCowan. Abby, talk a little about just the way you served the ball tonight.
We needed to make a difference and get them out of system, and we kind of started serving at them aggressively, and they panicked, and that was a huge difference in staying on the serving.
How much did you think you guys needed this game tonight?
A lot. It was a huge game for us. It was a lot of fun. It showed us what we can do, and we can only go up from here.
Talk a little about, too, the atmosphere that you guys had here, just the crowd just really getting into it.
It was awesome to get the fans finally to show up after the second and third game. Like, I think it changed the entire atmosphere, and like that just got like the team and the sidelines just 10 times more excited and just pumped us up to win.
How about you, Abby? Think about it.
It was a huge difference. It helped us a lot. It was really exciting. It was fun to play. It was fun.
Talking about, too, just what kind of a big pick-me-up this was, just right after the tournament you guys had. Not really what you were hoping for in that tournament, but talking about what just how much of a pick-me-up this was.
This was a huge pickup. Like, from coming back from being down 1-3 and then coming back and winning our first home match was just a huge difference, and I think that's going to change us for the rest of this season.
Thanks, Abby. Thanks, Haley. This is Kevin Shepke reporting.
Both Haley and Abby for joining us in that interview earlier last week in the Vikings performance over Concordia University Chicago. North Park went to the Aurora University Spartan Invite later on that weekend and unfortunately ended up with a 0-4 record. Unfortunately, that was their next move there. But they will be returning to action tomorrow night as they will be hosting Calumet College of St. Joseph. We hope that you join us on the NPU Live channel as we will bring that webcast to you live with both video and audio as the Vikings will take the court at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Moving on to some other sports, as we already touched a little bit on the North Park women's soccer team. A little bit more about the North Park men's soccer team. They're just absolutely on a roll right now. They have improved their record to 5-0 after just an unbelievable performance on Friday evening. They played Olivet College, and after being down 2-0 in the first half, after giving up a 30-yard score, they ended up giving up a penalty kick to go down 2-0, and then they later came back with 3 goals in the second half. Tatum Tom and Mostole scored 2 of those goals, one of them coming off a penalty kick. And we've got some of the highlights from that game as well. So let's go ahead and show those to you right now.
Tatum Tom and Mostole now going to take a penalty kick for the Vikings. That is number 4 for Olivet on that red card. And a goal! Goal for North Park. Tatum Tom and Mostole scores with 43-11 remaining in the second half. And the Vikings have cut this lead for Olivet down to 2-1. Goal by Tatum Tom and Mostole. Garth takes a shot. It's safe, and it's good, and a goal! Goal! It's a nice Kevin Thomas, Zabilski puts it in for the Vikings. With 37:48 remaining here in the second half, the Vikings had tied the game on a goal by Prabhasov and Zabilski. Tommy Mosley now has a little bit of delay. He's going to take a shot, and he puts it in! Tommy Mosley puts it in for the Vikings. Assist to Kevin Shepke with 31:49 remaining here in the contest. The Vikings come all the way back from 2-0 down to take a 3-2 lead. Goal, Panther Tommy Mosley.
And as I said, just a unbelievably spirited match there that the Vikings had there against the Olivet Comets. And so coming up for them this week, they have one game as they'll be traveling to UC Santa Barbara out in California. Well, they'll be taking on the Banana Slugs of UC Santa Cruz. I'm sorry, Santa Cruz, not Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz. So we wish them all the best of luck in that one game this week. So you're now joined by head women's soccer coach Chris Wright. The Vikings are coming off a 1-1 record from last week. Unfortunately, they lost a 5-0 game to Concordia University, Wisconsin last Wednesday, but then bounced back on Saturday to earn a 4-1 victory over Wisconsin Lutheran College. So, how you doing today, Chris?
We're doing well, thank you.
Good, yeah. Let's talk a little about this game. Just an unbelievable, solid game. Emma Lundin gets 3 goals. Elizabeth Heidenstrom gets a goal and an assist. Just talk a bit about how you guys were able to bounce back after the game against Concordia for this game against Wisconsin Lutheran.
Yeah, well, it's been a roller coaster season so far. It's been very much up and down.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some good performances and some in between performances, shall we say? But this one was a good one. The girls started well. We played some fantastic soccer and got it down. Possessed the ball, which has always been a key to our success. We haven't done that in every single game that we've played, so it was nice to get back to some basics, to some Viking soccer, and it proved dividends for us.
Talk a little bit more about Emma Lundin, just a spark plug for you guys, going up and putting 3 goals on the board. What do you think was the success for her to just be able to see the ball or see the defense that way and just strike the balls as well as she did?
Well, I spoke to Emma and we just wanted to get her in positions where she was going to be more successful, and part of that was consciously as a team to make sure that we kept the ball, and having the ball allowed us to create opportunities for her. I think she had more opportunities this game than she has done in the past. So she's a very dangerous player, somebody who's very important to our success, and we want to get her in areas where she can punish other teams, and that's what happened at the weekend.
What do you think was the biggest adjustment from Wednesday to Saturday after the 5-0 loss, and you guys come back and get this nice victory? I
think it was our mentality. We looked at ourselves and realised that we are a good soccer program. We do have good players. We are a good team, but we have to play for 90 minutes. We've had 3 good accomplished performances. 2 of those we won. One we had a tough loss in overtime, but then we've had 3 indifferent performances where we played well for periods but not well for others. So to play for 90 minutes was something that we've really tried to concentrate on, and if we do that, then it's going to give us a chance to be successful in every game.
Would you say that that's probably the biggest thing you guys got to work on now after a game like this? I mean, obviously there's so many positives to pull out, but I don't want to say there's any negatives, but do you think that that's probably the biggest thing you guys got to work on now moving forward? Yeah,
we just need to ride the momentum. It's always good to win a game, especially in the fashion that we won it. We now need to take it in. We have a very, very tough game against accomplished opponents in Chicago on Wednesday. So it's going to be a test for us, but if we implement ourselves and show the attitude and the level of play that we did at the weekend, then we're going to give ourselves a shot, and that's all we can ask for.
Breaking them down a little bit, what do you think is probably going to be the one thing you guys are going to need to maybe neutralize in order to get goals against you, Chicago, and be successful?
Well, this is a team that, as far as I'm aware, we haven't had too much success with over the last couple of years. They're an accomplished side. They're 5-0, so it's going to be a tough game. But we just need to be organised, be disciplined, and not concede silly goals. And if we do that, as I said, we're going to give ourselves an opportunity with people like Emma and Annika and Haley and Britt. We've got goals in us. We just in games gone past, we've had periods in the first half where we've conceded, and we've given ourselves a mountain to climb in the second half. So our aim is to ensure that we don't do that on Wednesday, and if we can be in a position where it's 0-0 going into that last 20-25 minutes, then we'll give it a real go.
Okay. Yeah, talk a bit about too. You guys got this celebration coming up on September 20th. Women's soccer celebrating 20 years, 1994 to 2014. Talk a bit about just what you guys are going to do with all that whole promotion, that whole celebration.
We just firstly wanted to recognise, all the fantastic ladies who have participated and worn that jersey. They've kind of given us the opportunity to be where we are and help solidify this program. So we just want to show something and give something back. We also want to do something for the community. We hold a summer camp for young kids in the area. We did it over the summer, and so we've invited them to come back and do the walkout with us. So we just want to do something for those past players and for the community, and hopefully just celebrate 20 fantastic years of Viking soccer.
And hopefully a 20-0 win.
Yeah, that'd be nice. just a win will be fine.
Okay. Thanks so much, Chris, for joining us today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Oh, and touching on some other sports here too. Women's tennis. They unfortunately have been struggling in the conference play, but one big bright spot for the Vikings has been the play of freshman #1 singles player Lisa Daniels, who is just off to a hot start in her first year as a women's tennis player in collegiately. She is now 3-1 in her singles matches in the conference, and for that she was named the CCIW Tennis Player of the Week last week. So the Vikings will be returning home later this week on Wednesday, so they'll be hosting Roosevelt University that afternoon, so we hope that you can come out and join us for that. Touching on some of the other sports as well, the cross-country team traveled to the Luther College All-American Invite this past week, and although the team scores didn't reflect the performances the Vikings had, just all-around solid performance for both teams, and they just had an incredible performance there both ways. And they will be taking a couple weeks off before they will be returning to some other meets. So once again, we'd like to thank those coaches that joined us, both head football coach Mike Conway, as well as head women's soccer coach Chris Wright, for taking the time in this week's edition of NPU Weekly. And we hope that you've enjoyed today's broadcast. We hope that you join us tomorrow night as we will bring you North Park Volleyball live from North Park Gym at 7 p.m. as the Vikings take on Calumet College of St. Joseph. And we hope that you join us again tomorrow Wednesday evening as North Park Women's Soccer we will bring you on the NPU Live channel as the Vikings will take on the University of Chicago that evening. So we hope, once again, we hope you enjoyed today's webcast of NPU Weekly, and we hope that you join us again next week as we will be talking with head coach Mike Conway, and hopefully we'll be after another fall coach. Not really sure who it will be yet at this time, but hopefully we'll be talking about a good Vikings win over the Washington University St. Louis Bears. So that's a wrap for today. I'm your host, Kevin Shepke, and thank you so much for watching the show.